Welcome to EFT MBA Mastering Business Acumen with the help of EFT business experts. Learn the marketing, mindset, and skill set you need to create the EFT coaching practice of your dreams. Visit www.eftmba.com for more information. And now, here's the EFT training team that embodies the art and science of EFT. Alina Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner.
Hello, welcome to our EFT MBA program. I'm Alina Frank, and Craig, are you here?
You bet your bottom dollar I'm here. Of course I'm here.
Yeah, I just all of a sudden all the echo and the weird sounds that we were having before we went live, they all cleared out. So I wasn't sure if you were still there, but I'm glad that all that's gone and you're still left. I
wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah. So what are we talking about?
I love doing this show. What are we talking about? You know, when I posted the show on the different places, I found this wonderful image today that just made me laugh, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. It's a tortoise with a head stuck into its shell, and that feeling of not being able to poke its head out for fear of something that's outside itself. And I think it's a great image for what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay. So the topic today is the fear of being seen, why so many EFT coaches let this block their success. And I hear this with my students and the clients that I work with that are coaches or that are entrepreneurs in one way or another. I hear this at least once a week or some variation. There are many, many variations on this theme, but it's almost we could really just group them together. So what we discovered was the underlying vulnerability, the fear of being exposed, fear of being incapable of succeeding, fear of being seen as a failure. You know, there's so many of these little threads that happen, and we want to help you identify them so that you can clear them out and not let this prevent you from actually moving forward. So what I wanted to say also is that we're live, and if this is your particular problem, and you just need some help to try to figure out what may be at the root of it, you can call us at 347-215-6833, and that's 347-215-6833. If you're nervous about being seen or heard in that way, you can actually go to EFTtappingtraining.com, go to the audio section where we're playing this live on our website, and there is a Facebook comment box, and I'll be monitoring that, so you can just type in your question there. So let's start talking about this. And why this is something that really should be addressed as you if you have an EFT practice. Craig, what I wanted to say, let's say how do I want to put this? We often get in our EFT MBA 6-month program, which we're about to start up again in May, so get your applications in. What we have heard sometimes is that there is a misconception out there that you have to be a rock star. You know, I hear that phrase all the time. I got to be a rock star in order to succeed in my EFT practice. And that immediately puts people on edge. And I have to tell you, I know plenty of EFT coaches and coaches that make very nice salaries, and they're not rock stars. You've never heard of them. Probably if you limit your exposure to just kind of following who's following who and what the hierarchy is and on Facebook and that sort of thing, you never would have heard of these people. And so I have to say that's not true. That's completely false. And if the big challenge for you is hearing, oh yeah, I need to be a rock star like so and so, or they see us out there and they think they have to be seen like we're visible and being seen. We want to just spell that right away. That is not true.
But you know, that feeling that I can hear in people is like, but I'm not like you, and I can't do what you do, and I couldn't do that, and that whole comparison thing against whatever level of expertise or extrovertism or whatever it is that people perceive is not them, that they feel that. It's like, since I can't do that, I can't really stretch, and I can't really, you know, I mean, all those blocks that just stop us dead in our tracks that don't have to, because we don't need those comparisons, because we each have our own unique path of excelling and thriving, and that's different than anybody else's.
Or that we, and I also want to say that we enjoy doing those things. So we enjoy giving these, I mean, you've been doing the transformational dialogues for like how many years now? So you,
God, like 8 years,
so you like doing that, and that's why you do that. Just like the show, we really enjoy doing that, and that should be part of your business model, is to do the things that you like to do, and get over the fears that you have that prevent you from even investigating some things that you might like to do, but fear stands in the way so strongly that you haven't even explored it.
Right.
I also want to say here that that, you know, when you set the intention to start an EFT practice, it is very much about your, I mean, we hear this all the time, that the reason why you started this was because you wanted to help people change, heal, grow, expand. It's something that you love to do. And so that calling to be this, because, I mean, no one puts a gun to your head and says you have to be an EFT coach, right? This is very much when you hear that call, when you feel moved to do this professionally, it's because your soul is calling you to do this, and you want.
I thought it was a career path in high school. Didn't your guidance counselor review that option with you?
No, I didn't get that class. No, I didn't get that counseling. I wish I would have. So, what I want to say is that this comes at a soul level. That wanting and desire to fulfill your mission and your purpose and your destiny, that's always a soul call, right? That is very much you aligning with your purpose on a soul level about what you need to be doing on this planet. Now, we teach in our classes that when you make a pronouncement like that, when you make a proclamation to the universe like, yes, I am doing this, right on the heels of that, almost always comes your ego voice. And we're talking about the small, mature ego, because the ego is useful. It's what creates action, moves things forward in this 3D reality. But the immature ego, that small voice that's so afraid, almost invariably comes on the heels of what your soul wants and tells you all of the reasons why you can't do it because of fear. The fear runs that immature ego. It wants guarantees, it wants promises, and that's not going to happen, because when you decide to fulfill your soul's purpose, it's really there for expansion and growth and becoming more of who you are. And sometimes that looks very, very different than what you set off to do. And that's why sometimes you start off thinking that you're going to specialize in one area, and then a little bit further down your path, you're going to discover that you really want to be doing something else. And that's always an adjustment. But the ego doesn't want to hear that. The ego wants certainty and guarantees, and in this life, that's just not going to happen. So underneath the root of fear of being seen, I just wanted to give you this bigger context. Yeah?
Yep, go for it. Let's start.
All right,
let's get going.
Let's get to the brass tacks here. So what is this all about? When someone says they're afraid of being seen, let's hear some of the things that you hear, Craig.
This actually just came up with a patient yesterday, and the fear underneath the kind of being seen is like if they're out there, that they're going to be judged, right?
Uh-huh.
And that kind of being judged, criticized, looked at with this critical eye because variations of I'm not doing enough. I'm not as good as I should be. And so this whole idea of like this kind of like eye in the sky, being seen, being exposed, being judged, being criticized was a huge one for this person in putting themselves out there. And so ended up kind of hiding and playing small because of that fear that might happen. And of course, had their past times where that happened, right? They were blamed, they were criticized. It wasn't their fault. They shouldn't have really been, but they were. And it just, those repetitive stories and circumstances that prove that if they really stand up and they really stand out, that they're going to be judged and criticized. So that was a big one.
Yeah. So the fear of being judged is we all have some of that fear, but what I want to say is that it's really important to work on this because, especially if it comes out pretty strong for you, because let's face it, we're humans. We judge. We analyze and judge every person and every situation we go into. It's part of what happens when we walk into a room full of strangers, that our amygdala is on high alert. We're scanning and we're judging. This person is safe. That person might not be safe. And so all of we are constantly doing that, and so it is absolutely imperative for you to work through the fear of being judged. If it is a high trigger button for you, know for sure there's some history there, more than likely from your childhood, that really needs to be addressed.
Right.
And if you're afraid of being judged, then some of these questions that you ask in your EFT sessions is, so why? What's the worst thing that can happen if you're judged? Then you'll get to a close cousin of fear of being judged, which is fear of being rejected.
Mm-hmm. Big. Fear of being rejected. Then they won't like me anymore. They're going to cross me off because they thought I was one thing, but now I'm really this. That vulnerability of fear of being just rejected because of who I am is not who they pictured I was, or who I am was not how they perceive me to be based on what I was putting out there via whatever communication or marketing or whatever ways I was putting myself out in the world, and they see me, they don't like it, they judge me, and now they write me off and they reject me. Mm-hmm. Once again, of course, if that's a big one for us, of course we look into our past, right? And where in our past, and especially younger, did we feel, and again, everything is where did we feel, or really, where did we perceive the look, the words, the energy, whatever we read into the other person, sometimes accurate, sometimes not, our perception of rejection is the truth for us, right?
Right. Yep. So the other thing that comes up pretty frequently is this idea of a congruence issue. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, that's a big one. So, we're all looking at what does it mean to be authentic, what does it mean to be congruent, which is kind of the opposite of being a hypocrite. So, in other words, this one's just so big. Okay, so if I'm a coach, a therapist, an EFT person, and I'm working with somebody on regard to abundance issues, and I'm working with people with regard to financial success, but I don't feel that. I don't have evidence of that. If I'm working with people on relationship and romance and intimacy issues, but my relationship is rocky, all the different issues that I'm working somebody on, I've got this level of expectation and knowing that mine has to be handled to that issue every moment that I'm working with somebody else, sets up this shadow of, God, how can I really do that if I'm not doing it myself?
So
right?
Give us some concrete examples of what you mean.
I just did. What do you mean, give me concrete? I just said. So in other words, let's just say that perfect. I work with people with relationships, and I'm working with them to create greater communication and greater connection. And in my own relationship, we're, in a rocky place. So I can't really thrive with working with people to create successful relationships if mine isn't really thriving in success. So I feel hypocritical with working with anybody. So how am I going to attract clients and relationship clients if my relationship isn't solid?
But not even how can I attract them? It's like, how can I even work with them? They're there. In fact, I would say that they are there, and they will show up more frequently in your practice if this is an issue for you.
True.
I'm all about the hologram. So anything that I see outside of myself is a real reflection of what's happening internally for me. So if I see that happening over and over and over again, then that is something that I am grappling with. And that does not mean that you cannot be helpful. In fact, you will be more helpful to them if you are someone who is jostling with this issue yourself. You know the problem inside and out because that you are dealing with it. And really, a teacher is only a person who's one step ahead of their student. And it's always easier. It's always easier to help someone resolve their own issue than your own. So, but for the congruence issue, it really is important again for you to do the work on yourself and actually work with someone on this. And it does. I just have to say for one moment that I wanted to say that if you are in a pattern of always swapping sessions with the same person, I would really strongly recommend that you from time to time hire someone else, do swap sessions with other people, because there could be blind spots. There could be things that this person isn't seeing with you. And you don't really know their skill level at trying to at assisting you. I just needed to put a word out for that because I've seen that with my students, just in the last few weeks. It's shown up a lot, so I just want to throw that out.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go to. We've got basic, when I look at all the variations, all of the flavors that we're going over here are, in a sense, our inadequacies, are, in a sense, our shadows and our fears of that we're going to be really seen for who we are. And ultimately, all the flavors come down to I'm not good enough in some way. Either I haven't handled that.
I just wanted to share that Marianne Williamson quote, "Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us."
Good. That's true. And so when we look at all the different things that are going to show up there as far as why we can't stick our head out, is that fear that, number one, people will see what we perceive as our inadequacies, our failings, our weaknesses, and on the flip side of that is they will truly see who we are, and then then somehow we feel this pressure have to hold ourselves up to that higher sense of ourselves. And that often feels, I'd say in our society, like work. Like, oh my God, I have to keep my integrity all the time. I have to keep my shining on. I have to keep my best sense of self forward. And oh my God, that feels like work until we finally get to the point that we fully, at the heart of each EFT statement, is fully love and accept ourselves for who we are. And then it's the opposite of work. It's actually this deep sigh of relaxation of I am who I am. That's good enough. That's great enough. That I just am. And if I allow that relaxation, my greatest shining comes through. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side of that relaxation are all the shadow aspects of fear, that I'm going to have to change, that I won't be liked for who I am, that I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, I don't have the credentials, I don't have the degrees, I don't have the certifications, I don't have this issue handled, it's uprightness. So, all the variations of what we're going over really come down to that. One of the things that the thing that you just said, which you went over, and I just want to
just going to go into a little bit further is the fear of shining for some people really is about that people that will then expect something from me or want more out of me, or that that it's just going to be too much. What if I was lucky this time around? What if I was able to do it once but not again? What if all of a sudden I'm going to have so much work that I'm going to be overwhelmed and I won't be able to handle all that's expected of me.
Right. Yeah.
And so and what's really interesting is that people that say this usually are nowhere near what they want to be making, are nowhere near being at full capacity with work. And so guess what? That's the reason why.
It's true. I have never heard that one actually come from one that was actually really busy.
Yeah.
Right? All the practitioners that are scared of feeling overwhelmed and scared they're going to have too many are never in that position that I've seen.
Yes. So if you do not have a full-time practice and that's what you want, then know that one of these things that we're mentioning today really is at the root of why that's happening. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is, and you also just mentioned it briefly, but I want to say a little bit more about it, is the fear that your life is going to change when you do make it, right? So some people are just very comfortable, even if your relationships are mediocre or they are long-suffering, or even if they're toxic. Your ego wants to have you stay exactly the same place that you are for fear of change. Because again, there are no certainties, there aren't any guarantees, there are no promises that can really be made that that your life is going to change always for the better, and that you'll be guaranteed nirvana. That just doesn't happen. It's all about soul growth, expansion, and becoming more of who you truly are. And that's frightening to the immature ego.
Yeah, I mean, on a very realistic level is, sure, what happens if I get so busy I'm not going to have time for my kids? What happens, I'm just taking it really practically for a minute, is like if I really get this thing going and things really going, I'm not going to have enough time for my relationship. I'm going to be doing all this, and all the fears of that unknown cloud of activity and time and people wanting me. All of those issues end up causing some people to stick their head back into that shell because of the fear of that unknown wave of overwhelm. Right? Mm-hmm. And that unknown wave of overwhelm, it's easier to just kind of play small, not stick my head out, not put myself out there. And so it just, that fear of being seen again. Right. And that's what I love, is fear of being seen comes in so many different flavors for so many different people, but it's one way that's often spoken of that categorizes so many of these. And it addresses everything from spiritual alignment issues to just time and energy overwhelm and everything in between. Right.
And the other thing that I wanted to say about what you said about life-work balance is that there are ways to do this business that do not have you working 24/7. There are ways that you can build products. There are ways that you can do groups. There are ways that you can charge so much that 2 or 3 clients a week would cover all of your expenses. Now, then you might be starting to think of all the secondary list of fears, right? Then I don't know how to do that, or I'm afraid, am I really worth all that money? And that is something also to look at and work through, because it's a misconception that you have to be working tons and tons and tons of hours at this in order to be successful. That's certainly not true. Okay, so I think that we covered them all.
I think so.
Yeah.
But we're always looking for other ones, too, so we love everybody's feedback. So feel free to make posts of, in your personal experience, what are variations for you as far as why you stick your head back in the turtle shell and how it shows up for you as far as fear of being seen. And who knows, a lot of the ideas that we end up getting, we write about, we have future shows about. So, we love your participation and sharing and your personal insights as well.
Yes. And if you're really serious about making a commitment to growing your business and having the resources that you want to live the life that you deserve, then we strongly recommend that you check us out at EFTMBA.com, EFTMBA.com, where we are thrilled to be giving you so much focus and attention. Remember, what you focus on expands. And imagine what your business would be like if you devoted 6 months to the process of really aligning yourself, mind, body, and spirit, to having your business grow in a step-by-step process that's been proven over the last 4 years with our students. So check us out. We're taking applications for a few more weeks, and then we're off doing our thing, helping our students really rock it without and addressing all of these fears along the way. We do lots of tapping in there, as well as giving you very concrete, practical how-to steps. I think that's it for us.
Great. I think that's it. Well, we promised to keep it within 30 minutes, and we did it again, successful.
Yeah.
High five on that one. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. We hope you're enjoying this. We're getting great feedback from y'all. So we'll keep doing it as long as we keep getting great feedback, and you guys are being able to use this to make changes for your practice and enhance and thrive in your practice. We love doing that for you. So have a wonderful 2 weeks. We'll see you when we get back.
You have been listening to EFT MBA with Alina Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner. To get your free report on the 5 secrets to create a rockin' EFT practice and to learn more about the EFT MBA program, visit www.EFTMBA.com.